Hey everyone, welcome to Comic Sans, the podcast about comics for those who are sans knowledge. I'm Yen, and Nat, describe me today. I always describe myself.
You're wearing a t-shirt, you're holding a microphone, and you're terribly lit. You are terribly lit. This is a recurring feature in Yen's living spaces. In Singapore, in Chicago, he just has the worst lighting ever.
I think I have vampiric tendencies. I think that's what it is. I think I fear the light.
Oh, I need to introduce myself. Wait. Oh yeah, who am I? Yeah. And I'm Nat, and I am a Signal Awards finalist, as are you, Yen, and we are very, very honored that Comic Sans was nominated as a finalist in the Signal Awards for the Best Buddy Podcast category. And I think it's important to clarify, mostly for Yen, because apparently he was confused about this. It is not.
I was a little confused.
It is not for the Best Buddy Podcast. It's not about the podcast about best buddies. It's about the Best Buddy Podcast.
I don't know.
Which is an important distinction. Which is an important distinction because I think it'd be very difficult to argue that Yen and I are best buddies. I think, I don't even know if I would want that, but I think you can make the argument that we are buddies. Would you agree, Yen?
I don't think there's any evidence to support anything you've just said.
Well,
I'm just going to say that.
Should we withdraw ourselves from the running?
I don't think there is a competition. I don't think there are awards. I don't think this is a podcast. I think we are just calling each other because you just need an excuse to speak with me. I think that's where I'm at right now.
Are you here to try to sabotage our campaign? Is that your mission right now?
I think so. I think that's the task I've taken on for myself for no real reason. Other than I just like a little chaos, I just like to sow a little discord.
Is that what you think buddies do in your twisted world? That's what buddies do to each other?
Well, now I'm thinking of Buddy Holly, but specifically I'm thinking of that Weezer song, Buddy Holly. You know that song?
No.
Okay, well, it's not the best buddy. That's for those Weezer heads out there. Rivers Cuomo, I hope you're listening to Comic Sans, the podcast about comics for those who are sans knowledge.
But yes, and if you're not sure yet of where you want to cast your vote, today's episode is a little special drop just for you to hopefully convince you to give us that click.
Where should they give us that click, Net?
Oh, at tinyurl.com/comicsansbuddies. That's COMICBUDD. Oh, I did it wrong.
You couldn't spell buddies.
No, I missed out sans. COMICSANSBUDDIES. Terms and conditions apply. Batteries not included.
Is that part of the URL?
No.
So, Nat, in preparation for this podcast, I actually have selected something for you that I think is pretty special because it's about a character that we've mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks about this character all the time. Some people think he's boring. Some people think he's overpowered. I think he's terrific. Nat, who am I talking about?
Superman.
He knows. He already knows.
I know. I didn't have any prior knowledge or information.
There's no chance that we're recording this a second time.
No.
Tech failed us.
No chance. This is fresh off the noggin.
There's no chance that the moon is growing higher in the sky above me because we just had to restart this whole thing. No shot. But
yes, we're reading Superman today, which I'm excited about because, we didn't touch on him in season 1. Obviously, he's always part of the conversation somewhere, somehow.
Yes.
But I'm excited to read my first Superman comic ever.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Okay. Well, and the Superman comic you're going to be reading is something a little different. It's a little special. It's called Superman Red and Blue.
Okay.
And Superman Red and Blue, it was part of a bigger movement in the big two being DC and Marvel, to make these stories more accessible to readers who wanted them in snapshots, in little bite-sized pieces.
Sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, right? It's literally to find readers like you who can't read 500 issues or something, but know they like these characters and just want to spend a little time with them. Just dip their toes in the water, wiggle their feet.
Just the tip.
I don't appreciate that kind of language. This is why we'll never be best buddies, because you say things like that. So Superman Red and Blue is part of a larger effort that began, I want to say, in 2013 with Batman Black and White. And so the idea was to tell these special stories about these characters using a limited color palette.
Oh, like literally in the art.
Yes, so literally. So in Batman Black and White, there was no colors at all.
Right.
It was pure inks. Superman Red and Blue, there's different shades of red or blue, and there's also black and white.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's a really cool project, and there's also Wonder Woman Black and Gold that I like. There's a Harley Quinn, I think Black, White, and Red, I think, is the Harley Quinn one. And on the Marvel end of things, there is, and I think it's kind of funny, it's Wolverine, Black, White, and what do you think the last color is?
Yellow.
Wrong.
No.
Try again.
Black, white, green?
Try again.
Purple.
Try again.
Indigo.
I don't know why I'm making you do this. It's not even a color. It's the blood.
No.
It's Wolverine, black, white, and blood. And then they did Carnage, black, white, and blood, and Deadpool, black, white, and blood. And so it's the same thing.
And so was this like a collaboration between Marvel and DC, or was it like a competition thing? Like, you guys are doing this, we're going to copy you.
I think it's everybody just realized it's a good idea at the same time. So Batman, black and white was in 2013. All the other books I've mentioned were out in 2021 and 2022.
Oh, these are recent.
These are really recent. We're reading a really new comic right today. I think part of it is just the publishers realized that they had so much talent on board and there's these great characters and these great IPs and whatever, and they can't get some of these writers to come on board for a 20-issue series, but they can get them for 7-8 pages.
Right.
So each issue of Superman Red and Blue is maybe 4, 5, or 6 stories. Each of those stories, 7 to 8 pages. Really compact, start, middle, and end.
I love it already.
It's really, I think it's great. I think it's a great project by them, and I really like Red and Blue. We're going to be reading 2 stories from Superman Red and Blue, issue 5 today. And the first one is called Your Favorite by Joshua Williamson and art by Chris Sprouse, and notably colored by Hi-Fi, who is a great digital colorist who does a lot of really cool work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to note that in a book like this, which is really about the color.
Yeah.
And the other one you're going to read is Generations by Daniel Warren Johnson. All by Daniel Warren Johnson. Written, illustrated, and lettered.
Nice.
Let's start with some of the context you're going to need for Your Favorite. Okay? So, what is Superman's real name?
Clark Kent. That's his human name. I know he has an alien name. I don't know what it is. Beep, beep, boop, boop.
Okay, his alien name is Kal.
Did you like that? Beep, beep, boop, boop. Beep, beep, boop.
Oh, I kind of just like didn't let it hit me. I kind of just let it wash over me and leave me quickly. Stop, that's enough. That's deeply offensive.
To the aliens?
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
And to me.
To all our alien fans, please vote for us at tinyurl.com/Comic Sans Buddies. You know, we need that intergalactical vote.
Shout out to Zod and Lobo and Rivers Cuomo. The 3 votes that are going to win us this Signal Award.
Sorry, his real name.
So, Clark Kent, what's his day job?
Office. Damn. It's like, you know...
You just know so little, man.
You know, Ken's job is beach. Clark Kent's job is office.
Man.
Clark Kent
is a reporter. Like a lot of superheroes are reporters in their day job.
Yeah.
So Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is also a reporter.
Yeah.
So Clark Kent is a reporter at the Daily Planet in Metropolis, where his wife also works, Lois Lane, star reporter, with their editor, Perry White. And Clark Kent's best friend.
Ooh, is it a dog?
Jimmy Olsen.
Is Jimmy a dog?
It's not a dog. He does have a dog, actually. He does have a dog, and when you read Red and Blue, I'm going to need you to flip past the first story, because that is about Superman's dog, Crypto.
Why aren't we reading that? You know, this is about best buddies. Dogs are man's best friend.
Okay, so so if we're trying, think this through with me. Okay, if that's what you want, if you wanted us to read about a dog and a man, and we're trying to pitch that we are best buddies in the same way that a dog and a man are best friends.
I'm your
oh God, this is why we'll never be best buddies, because you say things like this. No, I'm saving that one. And another Batman dog story, perhaps for a dogs only episode of Comic Sans.
Oh my God. Now, if that doesn't get you excited for season 2, I don't know what does.
Okay, so his best friend is Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen is a photographer at the Daily Planet.
Okay.
And he's like a really goofy guy. Okay, so Jimmy Olsen is also kind of an emblem of old school comics because he was doing all these silly things. So all these like ridiculous adventures he would get into. He'd get turned into a gorilla. He would go into space. He would marry someone on accident. He'd marry like an alien dictator on accident.
What?
Just ridiculous stories with Jimmy Olsen, who's an ordinary guy.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He's like a normal human being.
He's a
but
normie.
just by virtue of the way he carries himself in the world, he ends up doing crazy things.
Right.
And so he actually has this watch.
And to clarify, is he Clark Kent's best friend, or does he know that Superman,
It's varied over time. Right now, in current continuity, he knows Clark Kent is Superman.
Okay, got it.
And there's also been other times he's known that, but then it's been reset. The story we're going to be reading, I think it's kind of ambiguous.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter.
Right.
But for a long history of their friendship, he doesn't know.
Okay. And you were saying something about a watch.
Yeah, and he's got a watch to call Superman if he gets into trouble because he does all these ridiculous things. And so it's like his super secret like signal watch.
Whoa!
And so he hits the signal. And
hold up. Did you just say signal? Don't forget to vote for us at tinyurl.com/Comic Sans Buddies. Okay. Signal watch, yes. And he uses it to call Superman?
And he uses it to call Superman to come save him from all these different scenarios. And one more thing I wanted to say about Jimmy Olsen that I think is really cool is this kind of blend between comics as an art form and photography within those worlds, where like a lot of famous images in comic books, particularly of Superman, are canonically taken by Jimmy Olsen.
Like in a sort of meta way.
In a sort of meta way. So the most famous one is the death of Superman. And you're actually going to see, I think you're going to see that image within this comic where it's Superman's tattered cloak flapping in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really famous cover to the issue of Death of Superman, one of the best-selling comics of all time. And that's the cover, but within the DC universe, that photo was taken by Jimmy Olsen.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's pretty fun, I think.
Yeah.
And just plays with the idea of image and who's creating this image and things like that. The other one I'm going to have you read is Generations by Daniel Warren Johnson, who I love. He's a terrific artist and writer. I hope to look at some of his other work. I've honestly been trying to figure out how we could do it in season 1, but I just couldn't pick the one thing. I actually have written about Daniel Warren Johnson before for Panel X Panel, which is this really great magazine that's about comic books. And I wrote about the final issue of Murder Falcon, which I really love. And this is very different than that because Daniel Warren Johnson, I think, is really talented with his action scenes. There's a little bit of that in here, but that's not really what he's going for here. In Generations, he's really going for heart. And he's going at the heart of Superman because Superman, right, Kal-El lands on Earth and is raised by Martha Kent and Jonathan Kent. You knew this already, right, Nat? This is something you know? This is something you bring with you on your day?
It's just something I think about on a regular basis. About as often as I think about the Roman Empire.
What state did he land in? What US state did Superman land in?
Oh, I was going to say a disheveled state.
He's a baby. Can a baby be disheveled?
Why
Answer the
not?
question.
Of course he can be disheveled. Kansas.
Wow, you actually got it.
Really?
What's the name of the city? What's the name of the town?
Kansas City. Isn't that the city?
You think...
Isn't that... I was just thinking of Wizard of Oz. I don't know why.
No, but you are right. He did... oh my God. Can you imagine if I'm wrong on this? That'd be really embarrassing. Rivers Cuomo, don't at me if I'm wrong about this. He landed in Smallville.
Oh, yes. It's a
which
TV
is also
show.
the name of the TV show.
Yes.
Right. And so Martha Kent and Jonathan Kent are blessed with this child after they are unable to have a child of their own.
Mm-hmm.
And they decide that they're going to raise it with the same values they have. And this is a big part of the Superman mythos is about nature and nurture.
Right.
So it's not necessarily that innately Superman was going to become something bad, but by nature he has superpowers. But that isn't what makes him super. What makes him super is the way he was raised and the person he becomes and the values that were instilled in him. Another great comic is Superman Red Sun, which is where instead of landing in Kansas, he lands in the Soviet Union.
Oh.
And that's a very, very different story. That's also about nurture versus nature, about who we become based on the ways we're raised, based on the environment we're surrounded by, based on the values instilled in us.
I mean, it's sort of reminiscent a bit of Hellboy also, kind of.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But I guess, but Hellboy's like fighting his nature, right?
Right. The nature is a little bit more inherently evil, I guess.
Yeah. Whereas Superman the nature is just that he's powerful. But, that's also an interesting point because to some people, having power should just make him different. Like that by virtue of having power. This is a philosophical thing, right? Survival of the fittest.
Like, is there a moral connotation of having power? Like, is it inherently good or bad?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Things like that. That's not Superman. Superman is pure. He's nice, he's kind, he cares about people. And that's because of who
he's handsome.
I'm not going to disagree.
It has to be said. And
that's really all I want to say about this before I get you to read it.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm a fan of short things.
And so, actually, Nat, you're going to be reading, I think, maybe a total of 15 pages.
Okay.
Only. A 7-page story and an 8-page story. And they're both from Superman Red and Blue, issue 5. You're going to skip the first 2 stories, even though they're great too. I really like those 2 stories. You're going to skip the first 2, and you're going to go to your favorite, again, by Joshua Williamson and Chris Sprouse. And then once you're done with your favorite, you're going to flip to the end, and you're going to go to Generations by Daniel Warren Johnson.
Okay. I'm ready.
You got it, Nat?
I'm ready. I'm ready to dive into the super world of Superman.
Okay. Let's go.
Did you get everything you need? It's a camera. Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy has interesting freckles. You're responsible for some of the most iconic images of Superman. You've been there for the biggest moments of his life. Ooh, nice photos. You must have a favorite. My favorite? Well, this Jimmy guy also quite handsome, huh? Who are all these creatures? I assume that... Whoa, wait, there's one with a backwards S. Ooh, a 9-panel page. Look at me knowing things. Jimmy's dodging people. Superman's blowing breath. What is his breath? Is it like cold breath? Superman's lifting a heavy rock, saving some kids. Where did the kids come from? And Jimmy's perched up on some platform, about to take a photo. Oh, he got him with the kids. He got the politician shot. Soups. He calls him Soups. That's so cute. Yeah, and I'm gonna call you Youps. You won't believe the shot I got. It's perfect. It's the greatest of all time. I know I saw. That's my Superman voice. You left the cap on. My goodness, he left the cap on. Rookie mistake. And then he takes a photo. Is it a selfie? Is it a selfie? We're gonna find out. Here's the page turn. Oh, it is at the last panel, but I have a few, but it's so hard to pick a favorite Superman moment. What about you? What's your favorite? Aww. Now that's a best buddy selfie if I ever saw one. It's a bit of an unflattering angle, I must say. You know, it really emphasizes the double chin. The end. Generations by Daniel Warren Johnson. Oh, this is so different. Interesting. Wow, the colors. Kent, good to see you. Hello, father. Sorry I haven't stopped by in a while. So I assume this is Daddy Kent. Please, I can only imagine how much the adoption can take. Yes. Congrats on the new baby. How is fatherhood treating you well? Come sit down. How can I say this? I've been around a while. I thought I knew how things worked. But if there's one thing being a father has taught me early on, is that I don't know nearly as much as I thought I did. Wow. He came down in a spaceship? That's insane. And when I look into my son's eyes, I sense a fear in me I didn't know I had. How can I be responsible for his growing up when I'm so lost? Aww. You and me both, man. You and me both. I mean, I don't have kids, but I have dogs. Jonathan, do you know the story of when our Savior was baptized? There we go. Jesus making a cameo. It's been a while since I've opened the good book, Father. There's a moment after Jesus emerges from the water where God addresses him from heaven. Yes, and what does he say? This is my son who I love, who makes me proud. That's a paraphrase, for sure. But you know, we'll let it slide. I think if you make sure your boy knows that's how you feel about him, the rest will fall into place. Aww. He goes back home. Superman is having some tummy time. Why does he sleep like that? Why is he outstretched? Carries him. You are special. Aww. Oh, Superman's a little bit grown up now. He looks about 2 years old, playing with his father and mother. I love you. I'm proud of you. You are special. Yo, this guy rocks. Yo, I like Daddy Kent. Daddy Kent's such a wholesome guy. I love you. Aww. I'm proud of you. You are special. I love you. And then he flies. Oh my goodness, he's holding a tractor. Aww, this is so sweet. I want to cry. Oh, we just cut to grown Clark Kent standing in front of a tombstone of his father, remembering the words, I'm so proud of you. He looks so sad. Takes off his glasses and reveals his chest. Oh, that's so good. Oh, damn. That's good. That's good. So he's saying the same words his father said to him as he rescues all these people. He's carrying this woman saying you are special. He's looking after this kid saying I love you. He's with these homeless people saying I'm proud of you. He's looking over the city, I don't know what city he's in, saying you are special. Probably New York. You know, all the superheroes live in New York. Oh, and then he flies out, looks at the whole world and says, I love you. I'm so proud of you. Damn, dedicated to Steven Johnson. I love you, Dad. Holy shit. That was fantastic. Okay, wow.
Well, welcome back, man.
Oh my God. That second one, that's a tearjerker.
It's so good. Okay, let's talk in sequence.
Wow,
okay, let's talk in sequence.
I actually feel like tears welling up. That's...
We gotta go in sequence, man. We gotta go in sequence.
Okay. We'll start with your favorite. It's clearly not our favorite, but it's someone's favorite because it's called your favorite. I mean, it's good. It was still very, very good.
Okay, there's no need for that kind of language.
I'm sorry. I would say the word for your favorite for me was it's charming, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
charming.
I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun. And do you see this thing I'm talking about the relationship between the panel and the photographer?
Yes, yeah.
So let's go to that page where there's a bunch of red and blue photos of Superman at different moments.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to talk you through what some of these are. These are not conventional panels. These are laid out almost like Polaroids overlapping.
Like a photo montage.
Onto a page. Yeah, like a photo montage of like what you would see of photos laid out on a table. Okay? And so top left is him carrying a woman with a purse, who I assume is Lois Lane, his wife. And the next image is him racing the Flash.
Nice.
Which is a recurring bit of who's faster, Superman or the Flash. And the third one, that's him saving a girl from a burning building. That's not really much of anything. That's just kind of generic. Fourth one, that's Death of Superman. That's the flag, the cape as a tattered flag.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's the cover. The fifth one, right? Do you see him facing off against this robot?
Sorry, the fifth one, you mean the one on the right of that? Okay, yeah.
The one on the right, the blue one.
Yeah, facing off with this robot with some cyborg arm.
So this is the return of Superman after he's died. So he's wearing the suit after Death of Superman. And there's an impersonator, cyborg Superman, who has replaced him.
And he's not wearing a cape.
And he's not wearing a cape. At this point, when he comes back, he's wearing an all-black suit.
Edna Mode would be so proud.
And then we keep going, and then this one is great. This red one, so it's Superman standing on top of a building, holding a young woman with spiky hair. And this is a really famous, a terrific moment from All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Whiteley, where Superman saves a young woman who's about to commit suicide. It relates back to the themes of the Daniel Warren Johnson story as well.
Hold up. I just noticed in the last photo, there's a flying dog.
And so that's the super
there's
family.
There's a flying dog.
Yeah, so that's Krypto.
I didn't know the dog was super.
Oh, I didn't mention that? Oh, yeah. The dog is from the planet Krypton.
No.
And so that is Krypto, Supergirl, Superman, his son, John Kent, and then a clone of him, Connor Kent.
Cool.
Who is Superboy.
Nice.
I think it's just like a fun little, like, oh, here's Superman through the years.
Right.
You know, these are some classic moments as seen from his best friend. And some of those from different angles. Because the one where he's holding the young woman, that's not the way the story is told. And so then we go down and we go, now it's the big fight scene. And I think what I really think is so fun about this is that 9-panel page.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that 9-panel page, right?
Yeah. Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me that I said that?
I was pretty impressed that you remembered that.
Thank you.
It's intersecting images, so every other panel is red, and those panel between that are blue.
Oh, yeah, that's nice, yeah.
Blue panels are Jimmy focused, red panels are Superman focused.
Oh.
Red panels are super action oriented. Blue panels focus on Jimmy just kind of escaping. Superman's in the background.
Yeah.
And so the red ones are so action oriented, right? So it kind of builds to this, like, Jimmy's gonna get this extreme shot of action of Superman beating the bad guys. And then you get to the next page, and it's a red shot, but it's not action.
Yeah, and then in the end, he doesn't even get the photo.
He doesn't even get the photo, which is so. Yeah, and then I just love that last image, man. That last image is so good. The last image is so Nat was wrong. Jimmy doesn't purposefully take the selfie. His camera just goes off.
Oh, okay.
And so instead, we get the final page is this very genuine image of Superman kind of ribbing Jimmy for being such a silly guy who can't even take a photo when that's his whole job.
Yeah. I really like the art style. I mean, obviously the red-blue thing, that's cool. But in terms of the style, you're going to hate me for saying this, but it just reminds me, maybe it's the red hair. It reminds me a bit of like Archie.
Well, it's also the style. Jimmy Olsen's style is reflective of that time.
Yeah.
Which is Archie-esque, right? With the sweater.
And the cross-hatching.
Yeah, what they're also pulling from here is like kind of the classic old Superman movies with Christopher Reeve. And so you notice like the colors are very, like it's flat. There isn't a lot of texture on things.
Yeah.
It's really very clean. It's very neat. It looks wonderful. Everything pops exactly how you want it to. Which is super different. Let's move into Generations, right? Which is the total opposite in terms of cleanness, right? These are rough.
Yeah, I mean, the art style is just worlds apart. Yeah.
The level of detailing here, the hatching, the shadows, everything is just
and the fact
layered,
that
right?
in many panels, the colors bleed out of the lines as an effect, which is so different from the first one, your favorite, where it's so clean. It's kind of like color blocked in.
Yeah.
But this feels very hand-drawn. This feels rough around the edges. It's sketchy. But it works so well for this story. Yeah.
Well, tell me why. Tell me what the story is, Nat.
Well, I mean, it's just this. I think it's just showing the parallels between the words that were spoken to and over Clark Kent as he was raised by his dad and his mom, his adoptive dad and mom, and then kind of showing the parallels between that and what Superman is thinking or feeling or even saying, as he serves humanity.
Right. So let's talk about this point about parallels. Nat's talking about there's the parallel journey between Jonathan Kent raising Clark and then Superman in the world, right?
Yeah.
And so we've got this one page where it's Clark Kent growing up, and it's 4 panels, 4 horizontal panels, right? And so the first one is Clark dancing as a little baby, then it's them planting in the farm, then it's Clark helping Jonathan fix a car, and then it's Jonathan sending Clark to school, right? So we've got 4 horizontal images, right, of equal size.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Superman page where he's saying those things.
Oh, actually, before we get to that, can I just make a really quick comment about colors? I mean, the use of the red and blue in this comic overall is so different because this one page you're talking about with the 4 horizontal panels, it's essentially black and white.
Yes.
But the only red we see is the shirts of, what are their names? Jonathan and
Martha.
Jonathan and Martha. So that's the only red we see, and it's such a simple but effective way of spotlighting them.
Yeah.
So it's just so clever, and it's just so different from how the red and blue was treated in your favorite.
It's like, who's this story about?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, because they could have made Superman blue, like wear a blue shirt in this montage, but he's also black and white. He's not the focus right now.
Well, right, that absolute gut punch of a page where it's Clark standing next to Jonathan Kent's grave.
Yeah.
Right? And he opens his shirt. What color is the S?
Red, of course.
Because that's what he got from them.
Ah.
Right? That's how he became who he was. He got the red from them.
Wow.
So, I mean, I would love for us to talk about coloring. I think we may do just like a whole coloring episode in season 2.
Yeah.
But you see, there's so many levels to what you can do with these tools.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah. And then now let's go to, just to keep going how Daniel Warren Johnson is telling this story at multiple levels, is when Clark is saving all these people, what's the page structure now?
It's also the 4 horizontal panels. It's mirroring
It's 4
Jonathan raising him. Yeah.
It's exactly the same page structure as the previous one, as Jonathan raising Clark.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's again, where did he get this from? He got it from Jonathan.
Yeah.
I think it's just such fine comic book making. It's just so clean. It's so simple.
It's so good. It's so good.
And it's so evocative. It's so powerful. It's just such a loving testament to what this character is about.
Yeah.
Right? This character is not about being better than people. He's about being there for people.
I didn't know. I mean, you're going to judge me for this. I didn't know Superman was so wholesome and pure.
Oh, dude, that's the whole thing. I mean, this is, I talked a little bit at the start that people complain that Superman is overpowered.
Yeah.
Who cares, man? Who cares? You look at these comics, the best things and the 2 things we read have nothing to do with his powers.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah.
It's really just about the attitude. It's about what makes him him. Right? Your favorite still has some punching, but it's deliberately twisting it on its head, right? Where that's actually the background. That's not as important as the saving.
Yeah, it's like it's a red herring. It makes you think that that's going to be the photo and everything's epic battle, but actually it's not. Yeah.
And then in Generations, not a single punch thrown.
Man, this Generations story is going to stick with me. It's masterful writing, and it's just the same 3 phrases used over and over. Was it 4 phrases? 4 phrases used over and over again. You are special. No, it's 3. You are special. I love you. I'm proud of you. You are special. I love you. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. No, it's just terrific.
Did your parents ever say those words to you, Yan?
Let's not get into that. No, I'm sure they did. They definitely did. I'm not going to ask you that back because I don't want to open that can of worms right now.
Yeah, but I thought we were, that's what buddies do. They share their feelings. Speaking of buddies, today's episode was a sort of like, a celebration and a gentle nod towards the fact that we were nominated in that category for the Signal Awards. Once again, tinyurl.com/Comic Sans Buddies. But so you picked these comics for a reason. Obviously, the first one, it's all about the buddy ship between Jimmy and Superman and Clark. The second one, I don't see the connection as much, but it's so good.
Honestly, let's be real. The second one doesn't have that much of a connection. I just love it. I was just like searching for what I wanted you to read, and I got to this, and I was like, we've got to. We simply have to. I simply can't not talk about this because it just captures all of it so perfectly.
Right. And so where I was getting as where the connection is as buddies, as I was trying to do, it's all about uncovering each other's personal traumas and...
Whoa. Whoa, hold on a second. I didn't sign up for this.
Laying ourselves bare and talking about, did your father ever say he loves you?
What is happening right now?
You know, if your father never said they love you, vote for us at tinyurl.com/comics.
And we'll be your buddies, and we'll tell you that you're special. We love you, and we're proud of you.
Hey, if you're listening to this right now, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, you are special. We love you, and we're so proud of you for listening to us.
Okay. He was so close to being sincere. He was so close. But I think that's part of what makes, I'm going to go back to this, right? Like when Superman is saying that to everyone, it's because he genuinely feels that like just being a human being, just being alive, right, is something to be proud of.
Okay, can I be a little bit of an asshole and like a little bit of a skeptic?
What are you say?
No, this 4-panel page, you know, with the woman, the children, the homeless, the city.
Yeah.
I felt that when he zoomed out to the world and said, "I love you, globe. I'm so proud of you, planet."
Sure.
It felt a little bit like everyone in that planet, like even the murderers and you know, it's got like Jesus vibes, you know, like God loves you unconditionally, that sort of thing. But it didn't feel as impactful to me as the page before. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I guess that. I can see why you say that, because the first one is such like astute micro moments.
Yeah.
And then the last one is this big macro moment. So the final page is Superman flying into space and looking at the earth and saying, "I love you and I'm proud of you." And I get why you say that. I think that's also one of those things you just gotta buy in.
Yeah.
And that's the purity of Superman, is that he truly does mean that.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what makes these characters so special, is that he's not real, right? Obviously.
What?
But I think...
What?
He's not real, obviously. But I think he is proud of us, right? And I think that's kind of an astounding thing about a character like Superman that exists beyond conventional characterizations. He's a bunch of different ideas about love and honesty and kindness that we can extend into our lives. Right? And he's going to care about people because they are, you know, capable of because he's capable of great empathy. I think that's the most super thing about Superman, is his empathy.
Speaking of empathy, you know, if you empathize with us and our plight, you know, we're up against Netflix.
I'm gonna vote for Netflix, man. they got some good stuff on that level.
If everything we've just said didn't work, pity us. Pity us. Give us a pity vote, man. I'll take it. tinyurl.com/Comic Sans buddies. But you know, again, I really enjoyed these two short stories, and I think we should read more 7-page comics, because actually it is, jokes aside, to write something so concise, to have a beginning, middle, and end, and especially for the second one to pack a punch, an emotional punch like that, with that amount of brevity. That is a masterful craft.
And that's what I love about Red and Blue and Black and Gold and Black and White, is that it's constraining the writer and the artist to these tiny stories, but it's also constraining them in terms of the tools they have. They do not have the full color palette.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think is really fantastic about both these things we just read, is that they're using the colors. They're using the fact that they only have 2 colors to further the story at another level.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. Right. Well, I know this is a bonus mini episode, Yen, but I think we should still end with some sort of questions. So, typically we end our episodes with...
Okay, I got my question.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
It's different from the usual question, which is like, will you keep reading? Do you see the value? My question is, do you understand why Superman is so great?
I having no pre-existing knowledge of Superman other than what was said about him in Flash, the movie 2023.
Don't say these things. Don't say these things on record. Nobody needs to know this.
No, I mean, these 2 short comics have really, I'd say, piqued my interest, and also it's opened my heart. I resonate with the purity of Superman because I myself am incredibly pure. And so, I think...
I don't know about this. I don't know about that. But okay. I don't know about that. Okay, and do one last plug.
Oh, one last plug? You tell them. You tell them, Yan. Where,
no, I'm just going to do it. I don't remember what the tiny URL is.
Where can they vote?
I literally don't know what it is. You have to do it. I'm not even doing a bit. I don't remember.
tinyurl.com/Comic Sans buddies, plural, BUDDIES, not YS, because that's not how buddies is spelled.
Well, thanks, Nat, for that final plug. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Check out Superman Red and Blue. Stay tuned for season 2. We're almost definitely going to read more Superman.
Oh, please.
Not too much.
Yes. But only the good Superman.
But only the good Superman. We're not going to read about Soviet Superman because that seems to make Nat quake in his little red scare boots.
What?
That one is for McCarthy, all the McCarthyites and the Rivers Cuomo fans and Lobo and whatever.
Beep, boop, boop, boop.
Thanks for joining us at Comic Sans, folks. We'll see you on the next page.
See ya. Thanks for listening to Comic Sans. This is an Andas Productions show hosted by Yant and Nathaniel Ma and produced by Roshan Singh Sambi. Our cover art is by Isabel Fang. Follow us on social media at the links in the description and keep a lookout for Season 2 of Comic Sans coming soon to wherever you get your podcasts.